Greetings and welcome to another episode of Q Points Podcast. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is Jay Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III.
Q Points Podcast is a podcast dropping the needle on Black music history. And Jay Ray, this is like the third time we are introducing a non-Black individual into the conversation. But when we tie it all together, you'll see why. Jay Ray, we are talking about Cyndi Lauper on this particular episode.
Yeah, and Cyndi Lauper for us, especially as Generation Xers and products of the music video generation, I remember seeing her multicolored hair with all on the video and jumping around and being inspired by her. Mm-hmm. So even as like a little Black kid, like we could see possibility in Cyndi Lauper. So, we love a Cyndi Lauper over in the Black culture.
Listen, I was just about to say the same thing. Like Cyndi Lauper, aside from the infectious pop hits, Cyndi was colorful. She was kind of cartoonish with her Brooklyn accent. It was really, it was stressed out. But also, J. Ray, I was a huge fan of WWF growing up. So when I saw Captain Lou Albano appearing in the Girls Just Want to Have Fun video, I was like, oh, I like this chick. She's super fun. And like, J-Ray, she's really a story of somebody who got it out the mud. Like after nearly a decade of singing in cover bands, Cyndi Lauper signed a recording contract in 1981 with Epic Records, which was the home label of the label that she was on. And then, like, since she went through losing her voice several times, going through bankruptcy, but in October 17th of 1983, the anthemic Girls Just Want to Have Fun was released and a pop icon was born. And not only is she a pop icon, she's also an activist for LGBTQ rights.
Absolutely. And when we talk about Cyndi Lauper's debut, I mean, Girls Just Want to Have Fun was a cover tune. It has been said that her label really did want her to not do original stuff at the time, and they really had to fight for Cyndi Lauper to be able to do original tunes. And so, of course, we had Girls Just Want to Have Fun as the first single, but it's this second single, Sir Daniel, that we really want to spend some time on, because y'all will learn after this that Time After Time actually has a really significant connection to Black music. So let's talk a little bit about Time After Time as a song. Okay, so Time After Time was the second single from Cyndi Lauper's She's So Unusual, which is just such a fitting album title for Cyndi Lauper.
And best album cover. Like,
absolutely.
I think it won an award like for best album cover or from Billboard or Rolling Stone. I can't remember which one. But yeah, I agree. I love that album cover where she's just like,
yes. And so Time After Time was released in early 1984. It hit number one in June of 1984, and it actually stayed at number one for 2 weeks. So I found an interview, Sir Daniel, with Cyndi Lauper, because I'm like, okay, so what was the impetus for Time After Time? So according to Cyndi Lauper, at the time, she really wanted to take bits of her own life and put them in the lyrics. So I actually found a video of Cyndi, and she talked about of the opening lyric to Time After Time, which is lying in my bed, I hear the clock tick and think of you. So what was interesting about that is her boyfriend at the time had bought this clock that apparently was like in another room, but they could hear it in their bedroom. And so it kind of became this thing that she used for the lyric. But she said of that lyric, she said, quote, I wanted to take bits of my real life and put it into music to make real music that people can hear and relate to because they have the same stuff in their lives. So when we think about Time After Time as a song and why, one of the reasons why it resonates, and we'll talk more about that later, but it just feels real. And that's one of the most beautiful opening lines, by the way, for a song. So let's talk about its connection to Black music, Sir Daniel, because yes. I think this is really interesting, and I don't know that people will remember this. And our first stop on Black Music Train is going to be with the icon,
The icon
Patti
herself.
LaBelle.
Yes.
So I remember this special. So this starts at the Patti LaBelle show.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we remember this. So here's what's crazy. In 1985, the Patti LaBelle show was Patti LaBelle's first TV special. She was about 20 years into her career at that point.
Yep.
And Sir Daniel, she was introducing herself to the American audience at that point, which is so crazy to me to think about, because in Black culture, let me tell you something. Miss Patti LaBelle, she had icon.
We know her. We know Patti. And like you said, the rest of America was trying to catch up, and she was reintroducing herself to a new generation.
Absolutely. So prior to that year, Patti LaBelle in 1984 had released New Attitude, which was part of the Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack, which became a top 20 hit for Patti LaBelle on the pop chart. So Patti LaBelle was suddenly a pop star in the 80s, right? She had the hair, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was the pointy wig that was hopping. And so New Attitude had given her first video. It was a lot going on. And so this Patti LaBelle show actually opened with New Attitude. But Patti's first guest, singing guest, because the Patti LaBelle show was like part concert, part pre-recorded skits. Her first musical guest was one Cyndi Lauper. And Patti, they performed Lady Marmalade together. So Patti, of course, went into her Lady Marmalade thing, and Cyndi bursts out the back singing with Patti. You know, she is jamming. And let me tell you what, she is beasting Lady Marmalade. It's perfect for Cyndi Lauper's voice, right?
Yes.
And then they wrapped their segment together by doing a beautiful rendition of Cyndi's Time After Time.
Like, you could have knocked me over with a feather while this TV special was on. It, you know, I love the fact that we grew up in an era of variety shows and TV specials. Like, that was just, it was such a treat for that to come on television, and then we get to see two people that we're very familiar with, and it's like the you put chocolate in my peanut butter. No, you put peanut butter in my chocolate. And it comes together, and we love it. We absolutely love it. They, both Patti and Cyndi, because Patti was known for being over the top, but Patti was able to tap into the sensitive nature of that song, the very tender nature of that song. And there's a moment where it looks like where Cyndi and Patti are kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like a bonding moment between the two of them, almost like mother-daughter. And they're kind of they're singing to each other.
Yes.
And I think that's what really drove it home for all of us. And, you know, in the Black community, we was like, all right, bet, Cyndi. We like that Cyndi Lauper girl. She did that. And so I kind of guess that solidified her with Black audiences, because to this day, you talk about Cyndi Lauper and Black audiences, we go up for Cyndi Lauper.
Absolutely. Not even a question. That is, and this is just, it was part of the whole package, right? So Time After Time is very reminiscent of classic soul songs that Black folks love so much. And what was interesting is how that song just has such a long life and impacted other folks in other genres of music.
Yes, absolutely. So you said that was 1985. We are going to fast forward to 2009 at the Mandela Day concert. July 18th, 2009 at Radio City Music Hall. You know, Nelson Mandela at this point is a figure of freedom, right? And harkening back to the 80s, I remember one of the very first like um fundraisers and ways to bring awareness was about Nelson Mandela. The Nelson Mandela concerts from back in the 80s. And so since then, there's just been like this through line where musicians use their power to bring awareness to the fight that Nelson Mandela had fought, bringing down apartheid, and bringing that to the front conscious of Americans watching, consuming media on a daily basis, right? So we fast forward to 2009, and like a lot of these shows, they decided to pair up different people for these performances. And much to our delight, but also to a lot of like confusement, and I did say confusement,
Right.
confusement to a lot of people, they paired up Cyndi Lauper with Little Kim, the Queen Bee. So at this time, it's 2009. Little Kim is a certified superstar, but she just came home from prison from doing her bid, and she is an unlikely artist that you would think would be paired up with Cyndi Lauper because she's the Queen Bee. She has solidified herself as a hip hop phenomenon. She's hardcore. She's not, her lyrics are abrasive, and of course she comes from the realm of hip hop. And we don't automatically think of Kim as a singer. However, at this time, she had just released the Naked Truth album. And the lead single that wasn't the lead single. The lead single was Shut Up. But the very follow-up single after Shut Up was Lighters Up, which we find Little Kim singing in a faux kind of reggae cadence along to this Latin kind of hip hop beat, and it's a hit. It's a hit. The streets are rocking it. Little Kim is back. She's out of prison. She's back, and so now we have this moment where our Little Kim, because she's our Little Kim,
yes,
is in the spotlight with a pop icon. Because Cyndi Lauper is an icon at this point. She's a pop icon. She's old. She's older than Little Kim, and so she's, to set the stage for those of you that did not see it. It's literally Cyndi Lauper, Little Kim sitting to her right, another musician, I think a guitar player sitting on Kim's right, and then one other musician sitting on Cyndi Lauper's left. That's it. That's the whole band. It is a bare bones acoustic a version of that they're about to sing. Now there is a backbeat playing because you can hear her asking for the backbeat to be played again, and so they kind of rewind and do it over. But much to our surprise, after Cyndi Lauper sings the first couple lines of Time After Time, our very own Little Kim grabs the mic, and in full voice starts singing the lyrics to Time After Time. Now, granted, you could tell she was nervous as hell. Her voice is shaking. But in that moment, Little Kim was all of us. Because all of us at one point or another sang Time After Time with our whole chest, even though we were, we've got hip hop and we've got all these R&B songs, but we have sung Time After Time with our whole chest. Time After Time had been sung in school choirs. I remember graduations where people sang that song. So it is embedded in our culture.
Yes.
And to see Little Kim, who herself is a hip hop icon, and has actually transcended hip hop at this point, singing this with her whole chest is a whole moment for me. I know a lot of people, like I said in the beginning, were confused and they didn't quite get it. Of course, people criticize Kim for being, she wasn't necessarily on key with the music, but J. Ray It was a whole moment.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop there, J. Ray, because after they sing the chorus of time after time, um, Cyndi Lauper gags us, and I say she gagged us all when Cyndi Lauper started singing the hook to Light Us Up.
A moment.
A moment. J. Ray, Cyndi Lauper was talking about some out there in Brooklyn, put your lighters up. What?
Yes.
So she sings the hook, and she sings, I believe she starts off a verse, and then Little Kim comes in and does a verse to light us up. But then Cyndi Lauper finishes the verse for her. And it's just one of those moments in time where we're just like, okay, I'm blessed to have this moment, to have witnessed this. When we were researching for this particular topic, I could not find much outside of like the show notes, but there was no, I was trying to figure out who the musicians were. I didn't find anything on them. I wanted to find out how they got paired, because it makes sense. They're two girls from Brooklyn. They've both carved out these lanes in their respective genres of music. Cyndi Lauper, fighting against the Madonna machine at the time, comes out on top as her own person. Little Kim, fighting against misogyny and the predisposed ideas of what a woman in hip hop should look like and should sound like, completely demolishes those preconceived notions and becomes an icon in her own right. So in that moment, everybody, it's like our two favorite flavors came together and brought us this moment of a wonderful performance between Cyndi Lauper and Little Kim. And J. Ray, I would just want to wrap up this segment by saying that song, like I said, continues to live within our collective memory, because people keep recording that song. Even Little Mo did a cover of Time After Time on one of her albums. So it's just one of those songs. Why do you think the song resonates with us?
I think it goes back to Cindy's original thoughts about the lyrics piece. And this is why I think music can be so transformative, and why music is like a thing that across cultural lines, across economic lines, across continents, that music resonates, is because time after time expresses sentiments that at some point in people's lives they go through. No matter what your experience is, right? You've had moments that feel like the lyrics of Time After Time. And I feel like everybody, like we've talked about, all of us little black children have heard that song and belted out, if you're lost, you can look, then you will find me. Time
after time, absolutely. And see, I told you it was going to make sense.
Yes.
I told you this episode was going to make sense, right, J. Ray?
Oh my goodness, it absolutely does make sense. And thank you all for, of course, hanging out with Q Points. Make sure that you follow us on social media everywhere at Q Points Pod. If you subscribe to our podcast, that would be amazing. You can not only, of course, listen, but you can also share it with your friends, family, and colleagues. We'd really appreciate it. And please visit our website at qpoints.com. Over there, you can sign up for our newsletter. And in our newsletter, you get a lot more stuff. So we are excited. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Absolutely. And like I always say, in this life, you have an opportunity. You can either pick up the record or you can let the music play. I'm DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is J. Ray, y'all.
And this has been Q Points Podcast, dropping the needle on Black music history. We'll see you on the next go round. Peace.
Peace, y'all.